Then I just looked up ways for passive income, and then I found this video saying passive income is a myth.
Okay.
And I was like, what? This is weird. Everyone's saying like passive income is the way to go, and this guy's like, no, it's a myth. And I watched that video, and he had talked about a lot of things that it's not passive income, it's we kind of got on calls, we started speaking to them, and we were so surprised how people were like, I just wanted a little bit of clarification whether this is going to work for me or not. And then sales started happening.
Anytime you cross, let's say 30,000 rupees, it requires somebody to do one-on-one sales, correct?
Everyone, even whether it's a 5,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, there are a section of people who will not just buy on the spot.
Yes.
So there are these people who want to do their research, they want to make an informed decision, they want to know what their options are, whether this is going to work for me. Removing that fear, is this going to work for them?
Okay.
There's a set framework, which if you follow from beginning till end, right, you will lead to an outcome.
Yes. Hey, this is Deepak here from digitaldeepak.com, and today we are going to have a conversation with Aum Janakiram. So Aum Janakiram runs a company called Exclusive Closer, and they help coaches and education businesses build a team of high ticket sales closers. So Aum, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you for having me here.
Yes. So Aum, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get into sales? When did you graduate, and how has your career journey been?
Sure. So actually sales kind of found me. I actually heard the first words, I'm sorry, we have to let you go. And I was like, what? So I was working in marketing prior to this, and I was leading a team of digital marketers.
Okay.
And I had almost 17 years of experience prior to that, just running agencies and doing SEO, performance marketing. And I was given a project where I had to run the P&L, and a lot of it was generating leads for the sales team. And we were working very hard to generate leads, get it across. But every time what kept happening, the sales team kept saying, the leads are sucky, it's junk, this is horrible, the marketing team is doing a bad job. And I was really perplexed, it's like, why is this happening, and then the marketing team, my team was like, they can't close, ask them to send across their recordings so that we can take a look. But I was like, what do you know about sales? Like, we don't know anything about sales, like in that way, how can you give feedback back? And similarly, I thought, what do the salespeople know about marketing, right? So it kind of got me in the stage where after the stakeholders came and said, sorry, we're going to have to let you go, you're not getting the results. I was kind of like, all right, this is something that's weird. So I kind of looked up, actually I wanted to just leave the agency business altogether. Then I just looked up ways for passive income. And then I found this video saying passive income is a myth.
Okay.
And it was by this little Chinese guy in a red suit called Dan Lok. And I was like, what? This is weird. Everyone's saying like passive income is the way to go. And this guy's like, no, it's a myth. And I watched that video, and he had talked about a lot of things that it's not passive income, it's active, doing active passive income. And then he talked about, closing and things like that. And that kind of got me into his funnel. Obviously, he's running ads, and I took up the program HTC, which was the high ticket closing certification, because there was this, this thing going on. He said you can make $10,000 a month through commissions. You can work from anywhere. You don't have to, have an office. You don't have to have a boss. You can just do this all by yourself. And I'm like, wow, this sounds like a dream. But I was skeptical, to be honest. But whenever I'm skeptical or curious, I need to go explore and see, is this really what it is? So I took a big leap of faith. I swiped my card, spent $2,500. At that time it was that. I think now it's like 4,000 or 5,000. But at that time it was just the third or fourth batch. So I joined in. It was fairly new. They were running their fourth or fifth cohort. And it really blew my mind. It wasn't only about sales, actually. It was all about, the mindset and the ability to be able to connect with people. And more importantly than connecting with other people was connecting with yourself. And so it was very deep in that sense.
And this was when, how many years
This was
back?
in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, back in 2018. And I was really blown away by the community, because everyone came from a very vulnerable situation where they maybe lost their job, or they were like, lost in life, or lost a loved one, and they were just wanting some sort of way that they can get out of this financial, instability. And it was sort of like a very open environment where people wanted to just help each other. And that kind of got me through I was obviously I didn't have a job. I was going through a little bit of tough time at home. So a lot of things were like, all over the place. And I felt, okay, this is something which could be my ticket out. It could be a way that I could, start to make a lot more money, maybe move abroad. And there was a lot of things that were there. Over time, once I finished the program, it was only a 3-month certification, right? But over time, I thought, okay, I'm going to make $10,000 in 3 months. Sounds good. But then there was a upsell. You need to join our, inner circle if you want to learn how to better this, and which is natural. I mean, you can't learn a skill in 3 months and say you're an expert.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were like, "Oh, what is this? I've just spent so much. I thought I'll make $10,000." And I was like, "Guys, listen. It's a skill. You've gotten from here to here. You've learned something." But a lot of people were very pissed off. To be frank.
In the community.
Yeah, and especially in India, because what happened was, touch wood, because I've had a little bit of international background, I was able to speak with international prospects easily, and they were able to understand me and all those things. But a lot of the Indian people who had taken up this program, who had very native accents, they were not getting opportunity abroad at all. And I was like, doing all of this, I'm sharing my wins on the community, and everyone's like, "Oh, how are you doing this? How are you getting these, these jobs? Help me, help me, help me." And I was like, "Sure." So I passed on, their videos to the influencers there. They're like, the time zone difference and, is a problem. I said, "I'm handling it. What's the problem?" But it finally boiled down to the accent. It finally boiled down to them not wanting because of the accent. I was really furious about that, to be honest. Like, these guys have spent so much money. They are really good human beings. They've got some great, aspirations. So I said, why not look here? Why not look in India? There must be somebody doing the same thing.
Yes.
And what was specific about what we were doing is it was targeting the coaching industry. And I was blown away by the personal development industry. It was like probably my first way I was looking into the industry, because before that I was looking from the outside. I had attended a few Success Gyan events. I had seen Siddharth, I had seen you on stage, and I was like, okay, this is great, but I never knew about the inner workings of the coaching industry and how it worked from the back end. So that really intrigued me, and I said, wow, this is great. We're helping people. It's not selling some sort of commodity where you just use it and then you forget about it, but it's going to make a life-changing difference. It's going to transform your life. And that's what it was doing for me. I mean, this program really transformed my life. Then I went on to take on more programs and more programs.
Okay.
And my journey of investing in high ticket began.
Okay.
And that was one thing which, Dan Locke said. He says, if you can't invest in high ticket yourself, how can you expect others to do it?
Yes. You have to change your belief systems.
Yes. And it's not about the money. It's like, I did not have the money to invest. I found the money.
Yeah.
I was resourceful. So that's the conviction, which again is all about closing. But long story short, it kind of begun like that. I started getting opportunities. The first client we worked with was Gopal Krishnan. And, he was very sweet. Him and Santosh, his brother, very sweet, said, okay, sure, let's try it out. Let's see what happens. And he wasn't selling high ticket at that time. So we were like, is it worth it? But best decision of our life. That's what got
started working with him and helped him increase the product prices.
Yes. So over time, we were handling his drop-off leads. He did platform closing. And then there were a whole bunch of leads which were not being tackled. So we started calling them, tackling them. And
towards the end, you were saying...
so it kind of, when Gopal said, we have these leads, let's see what happens. And we're like, okay, let's see what happens. So so there were 3 of us, another 2 partners. We kind of got on calls, we started speaking to them, and we were so surprised how people were like, I wanted to buy, but I was just waiting for somebody to clarify a doubt. I just wanted a little bit of clarification whether this is going to work for me or not. And then sales started happening.
Nice.
And I was like, wow. I was like, how are people leaving?
This was at what price point?
He was selling his, I think it was around 7,000 or 8,000 rupees at that time, including GST. So, we were just charging very basic kind of commission, pure commission we started off with. And the leads were about 100 or 200 leads per week. So it was easy to manage at that time. We were all like kind of figuring out the ins and outs of it, the script, what type of approach to use. So all of those things kind of got tried and tested during that time. And then we started adding on new people. And that's when we started creating a system, where a management system, a training system, and how are we going to scale this from 100 to 200 leads to 400 to 500 leads. And add in more people. And that's how it just kept growing. Then he introduced his high ticket, and then we started working on that, which was his agency offer for, I think it was around 2 or 3 lakhs. And we were just building up. Almost, I think 2.5 years we worked with him until he finally set up his internal team.
Yes.
Which is a natural progression. It was a great start.
So the way I understand is that if you are selling something like a 5,000 rupee product or less, you can sell it on a webinar. But anytime you cross, let's say 30,000 rupees, it requires somebody to do one-on-one sales, correct?
Well, yes and no. It really depends. I've seen people, be able to sell on platform even 20,000, 30,000, but the number's low. Right? They want to do that way, but then everyone, even whether it's a 5,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, there are a section of people who will not just buy on the spot, right? It's just that mentality.
Need some convincing on the call.
So there are these people who want to do their research. They want to make an informed decision. They want to know what their options are, whether this is going to work for me. Removing that fear, is this going to work for them? So when we were able to fix up a call booking system post-webinar, right, where we said, okay, those who are interested to speak to our success advisors or client success advisors, people were more keen to say, okay, I can speak to somebody. Let me clarify my doubts.
Got it.
And that's when the closing process begins, where we identify their pains, what are their dreams, what is the urgency, what are the consequences. There's a set framework, which if you follow from beginning till end, right, you will lead to an outcome. Right? It might be a close, it might be a maybe, it might be a no, but some outcome is going to come from that. Right? And that's the whole point of the conversation,
And it could be a hybrid model where you are selling something on a webinar. People who immediately purchase can purchase, but people who still need to talk to somebody
100%.
to get their objections cleared can book a call on the calendar.
Exactly. And what we found was the coaches were doing this themselves, but they were getting busy. They're like, I can't take so many calls. I can't take so many calls, and I need to coach. I need to take calls. I need to do this. It's like, I'm just tired, And obviously, there will be these time wasters. There will be people who are not serious. That's part of the game. It is a numbers game at the end of it. But if we're able to find those diamonds in the rough, and I always tell my team this, it might not be all great. But we are looking for diamonds in the rough here. And it's your job to find them.
It's always that way. You have to just pick out the right people from a collection of leads who are most likely to convert.
Exactly. And just keep serving. Don't go with the purpose of selling. How can you serve? How can you help this person? Even if he doesn't have money. Many times people say, I don't have a job. I don't have money. I want to join. I really want to change my life. But they don't have the money. And then most people will be like, okay, you don't have the money. Thank you, tata, bye-bye. But what I really encourage my team to do is to dig down to make them realize how they can be resourceful. Tell stories about how people have been in a similar situation, but have found a way out. And hold them accountable.
Correct.
That's the key over here. So we have a nurturing process for up to a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you don't just let the leads die down.
No. So the people who really are serious, they really want help, we get their permission. Is it all right if we keep in touch with you? Send you videos from time to time. Check up on you, how your progress is going. Is that okay with you? And 99% of the time, everyone says yes.
Awesome.
And and then we just get calls every month. Someone will just call and say, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
So that's building up the pipeline, obviously, but it's just that we didn't give up on them. I believe that's the reason,
Yes.
They might be looking elsewhere. There might be cheaper options. They definitely tell us that. But they say at the end of it, the reason why I'm joining is because if the service at this level is so good, you guys really care. When I get it, I feel confident that I'll get that kind of attention as well.
Got it. So in terms of high ticket sales, what is the highest price that you have worked with?
So the highest that we worked with is 3.5 lakhs.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's all a build up, you know. I always see that, and this is in India. 3.5 lakhs is in India. Obviously, $5,000, $10,000 I've worked with in the US. But again, it's a subscription model where they pay around $10,000 or $800 per month, which is just a total of a 10,000, 12,000 package. But what I realized was that in India, high ticket as far as is starting at 50,000 to 70,000. That's what the mentality is, you know. Just a fact that people have to take out so much money and spend is like, wow. But if they are nurtured through the funnel, right? If they are nurtured and there's enough information for them to showcase the value before they get on the call, then it's not a matter of the price. It's just a matter about the audience.
Correct.
Right. So if you're selling to working professionals, IT segment, senior management, you know that they have that disposable income. So and if you can provide that type of value, getting a loan or having the savings is not a big chunk. But if it comes to personal development space, it's not so easy because certain people want to develop but are not in those brackets where they're financially stable. They're mostly unhappy because they're not financially stable. So in that case, you got to start slow. You got to give them a little bit to start with, get them better, prove that it's working. Then they start to say, okay, what more can I have? What more can I have? You continue this journey, and it keeps building up, just like a sales, like a marketing funnel. We send them through the funnel, and eventually they come to the high ticket, you know. And I think that's what's really worked in India. That we've seen.
You can't just directly get people to jump to a high ticket without enough trust building and nurturing.
Yeah, but that being said, you know, I am working with a company, it's a leadership company, and they have a video which is the ad is very good. You know, like it just touches upon all their pain points, you know. And they watch a training video, 30-minute training video, and when they come on the call, they're like, that person just spoke to me. It was like as though they really spoke to me. Like, and as long as they have seen, you know, there's a validation call before, just to kind of make sure. So how it works is they book a call, then there's a validation call or a triage call, and then they get on call with the consultant. So during this validation call, that's when we kind of validate them for how serious they are. Do they have the time? Do they have the money? You know, do they want to fix this now in terms of urgency? And we kind of validate them there, allowing the calendar to open up to more serious people. Okay. So once the filtering happens over there and they get on call, then the conversions are much better.
I think the game is to predict who are more likely to convert. You will always have a lot of leads.
Yes.
Let's say we have 100 leads and we end up converting 5 people for high ticket sales. The idea is that can we understand in which bracket or bucket these 5 people exist? So if you can filter out maybe 20 people who most likely has these 5 people inside it using lead scoring mechanisms or whatever, then you can be more efficient with your sales because marketing does not cost anything in the sense when there are higher numbers. Like, you know, I post a YouTube video, I send out an email list. Even if I add a 0 to the entire audience, it is not costing me more time and energy. Or so much money. But in terms of sales, I believe a salesperson spending an hour and the sales not closing, it's a sunken cost, right?
It is a sunken cost, but it is a numbers game also. So out of, you know, as we, like I've done 5 to 7 consultation calls a day and I'd close 2. Or I'd be like, one is closed, but the other one will pay tomorrow or will start to begin the process by end of month. But I'm building up a pipeline in that way. But the targeting, the pain is there, the urge to change, the urgency, the money. If these 4 are there, then it all boils down to the connection that you make with that person. It's like, do they really feel connected with you? Do you really understand them? Right? That's the close. That's the skill of the closer. That's very, very important. And the marketing team does the good job by bringing the right audience, knowing the avatar that we require. The setting and the validation team knows who's serious and who's not. You know, so there's a skill at every level that's required in order to close them as quick as possible. So the VSL model, the video sales letter model, does work, and it can reap up to, I've done 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs also. India is slightly price conscious. When you go to GCC market, it's much better. That's what I've seen, which is the Gulf region.
Yes. So now, how big is your team?
So we have a core team of around 5 to 6 people. So basically we have managers, coaches and trainers and recruiters. And we have an extended team of closers. And I call them consultants because every account that we take on, right, we set up a new team for them, for the client. Because it's not like, one closer can work for multiple accounts, right? So there's a dedicated team of closers, each team comprising of a setter and minimum 2 closers. So that's how it starts. And as the requirement is there, they start to scale up. We increase that to 4, 5, 6 closers, depending on what the number of leads or how many funnels are running, right? So right now, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, around 9 closers actively working.
Okay.
Right? At my highest time, we had 19 closers.
Okay.
But just recently, a few of my clients, they decided to take a break, change the way they want to approach the funnel. Things like that have happened. And so that being said, we've had to kind of move those closers or keep them on backup in case another client comes along. And more or less just keep building it out like that. So my team of managers manage them. And we have 2 performance coaches. We have a recruiter who's working actively towards filtering out the applications that come to us. We get applications every week, coming in. We want to join your team. We want to join your team.
Interesting. Yeah.
And it's tough to really see who's the good closer or not until you go through the process. Right.
Correct.
So we have a good process where we go through a skill test. We do an attitude check. Then we do a commitment test. Then they do the grit test, what we call, where we give them a set of numbers and test them.
Okay.
And we, really make them go through the grinder. And then after that, we begin their training.
Got it.
Even if you're already trained, we retrain you in a way that gets you ready for the way that we work.
Got it. Interesting. So let's have a little bit of discussion about your entrepreneurship journey itself, because I think at some point you might not have been very confident on how this whole business journey will pick up. But now it has definitely come to a stage where that you are not going back to a job.
That's
you are
true.
going to be like a CEO, founder of an organization.
Yeah.
And obviously we think that, okay, it's a straight line from start to finish. It's just a long journey, but then you go through a lots of ups and downs, lot of doubts. Some days you feel like, oh, this is going to be the next big thing. I'm going to expand my company, make a lot of revenue.
Right.
And then one day you feel like, hey, I'm not sure whether this is going to work. Should I do something else in my life? So how do you manage this ups and downs, and what have you personally experienced in this journey?
So, entrepreneurship is like you said, it's ups and downs. And especially when you're responsible for the sales part of things, it's not only your business that's at risk, but other people's business. And, it's a big job. It's a big responsibility. I feel like as though I have a stake, which is true, in 4 or 5 companies at that time, because at the end of the day, if they're not doing well, we are not doing well.
Correct.
And so the goal is really to be able to stick through those times and lean on support, lean on your support team, lean on your peers, ask them, how are things going in your space right now? Are you going through similar challenges? Is it a market problem? That is the first question which I check, is it a market problem? Is the market down? Or is there something else? And when I realized that, it might be a process problem or a system problem, I just want to get to the root of why is this happening? And sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes 2 months. Getting a new client, I lose 2 clients, and then getting a new client is difficult. So it's all about just being consistent with your vision, like knowing, okay, I'm doing this for a reason. I know this is a need of the hour. I know that people need this badly. And as long as that idea and that problem has been validated, that there is that requirement, and you have a team around you that's supportive. Like I don't think I would. There was a point when my co-founders, so I had another 2 co-founders, they actually decide to say, oh, we don't want to do this anymore. It was just a little bit after, Gopal was on his way. He was like setting up his internal team. He was like, oh, I think, we're going to go this on our own now. Thanks so much for getting us to this level. And they were like, oh, this is not going to work. People are going to eventually set up their internal team. What's the point, But I was like, hey, listen, we got people from here to here, and I think that's a big thing. Many coaches out there are struggling. That's the service we're doing. That's the name of the game. Now, people might come and go, but that's how it works. So, but they didn't want to stick by. I had one closer who was with me, Aniket Kumar, and he said, Chief, I'm with you. I'll be by your side. I'll make sure that we grow this. I'll help you grow this. We'll get through this tough time.
And every startup has those early stage employees who are like, let's do this together and let's grow this, committed people.
So definitely, that was one definite blessing. The funny thing was when he came to me and he asked me to learn high ticket closing, that's him, Aniket. When he asked me to learn, I was like, no, I can't teach you. I paid a lot of money for this. But my mindset changed slowly where I was like, no, if we're going to teach more people, we have to be able to build out leaders. And today he's my chief people officer. He's responsible for finding the right closers. And it's all about, the gut feeling which he has, which is very similar to how I have. Finding people who have that gut feeling, that intuition to be able to, build out. So I said, okay, I'll take care of the leadership, the business development, the administration. You take care of the people and the training. And it worked out as a great combination. And today he's my, 50-50 partner.
Fantastic. Nice. Great journey, Aum Janakiram. So I believe that, as I grow my business as well, I would need help with, closers, and I would, contact you.
Sure.
And anything else you want to say?
So I think, one point I really want to address in the market is that I get a lot of clients or potential clients who come to me and say, oh, there are no good closers. And when these guys who are so-called high-ticket experts come and I give them my leads, they can't close. And, I don't believe that they're bad closers. I just believe they're bad leaders. If you want a closer to grow, you got to be able to guide them and lead them in the right way, right? And yes, they do know the skill. They do have the passion, the ambition, the grit. But if you don't give them the right type of leads, if you don't give them the right training, if you don't give them the leadership, the motivation, the ability to see a path with you in the future, they're not going to be motivated to stay with you or to perform, right? And it's not just here the leads, start closing. It doesn't work like that, right? So one thing, when I speak to clients, and they say, everyone's charging only 10%, why are you charging 20, 25%? And I asked them, I said, see, do you have a sales leader who can guide these closers in order to become better and better every day? They say, no. I said, do you have a training system that's allowing them to improve 1%, with their skill, with their objection handling? And they say, yeah, we bought some courses, they watched that. I was like, come on, man, you know this. So what I try to say is that if a closer goes to you and does not succeed, and a closer comes to me, I will ensure that he's successful. I will do my level best to make sure that he can be successful as long as he's got the attitude and the grit and wants to do it. So I think that is something which I feel is lacking in terms of awareness in the market. That, people think that just closers are just going to come and just start performing. Yes, there are those ones who can do that. There are people who will be like straight off the bat they will. But those are hard to find. If you really want to build out a high performance team that's going to be loyal to you for years and years to come, you need to be able to ready to make performers.
But you have to build them
the performers, and you have to see that there is that flame, that spark in them, and ignite that spark.
Correct.
And I think that's what's really set us apart, that we've had an 87% retention rate for some of our clients. We've been able to build out people who want to be with our coaches. And we don't say you're with us. Yes, we provide you with the environment to thrive. But end of the day, you're working for this closer. Do you believe in his mission or her mission? Do you really want to move, your career to the next level? Do you want your finances to improve? Then you need to be able to, be loyal and do the long game.
Yes, exactly.
Right? If you
Yeah.
keep jumping,
Yeah.
it's only because you're not able to find your place.
And everything good in life comes with, long-term compounding, right?
Yes,
You need
yes.
to nurture it and then you will reap the rewards if you just have the
Yeah.
patience.
Right. But at the same time, it's also important not to spend too long on a bad offer.
Correct.
What I find is a lot of coaches, they introduce new offers saying, oh, I have a low ticket, but I'll bring in a high ticket so you can make money there. But first you work on my low ticket. Here I'm coming in a low ticket at 10, 15%. I'm getting like 800 rupees to 200 rupees or 500 rupees commission at this 10% in the hopes that I'm going to get the high ticket. Now, a high ticket funnel is not proven. It's not been actually tested. So this guy is sitting around waiting for that high ticket to start, but it's not been proven. And ends up getting disappointed. Hey man, I'm making 20,000, 30,000. What is this? And he ends up leaving or
Yeah.
disappointed or whatever it is. Motivation drops.
Yes.
And then they say, oh, the closer didn't perform. So that's, I think, something I'm all for closers. I'm pro closers in that phase.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
my clients, but I'm pro closer.
Yes.
I fight for them. I make sure that they get what they want.
If you take care of your employees, they
Yeah.
will take care of your clients.
Exactly, and that's what's important. That's what I wanted to share.
Yes. Fantastic, amazing, Om. So thanks a lot for sharing your, nuggets and insights into the world of high ticket closing, and looking forward to working with you
Thank you.
in
Thank
the
you.
future. And thanks a lot for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me, Didi. I know
Yes.
that you're a very busy person, and for you to take time to meet with me and to talk and to do this is absolute pleasure. I really am grateful. Thank you.
The pleasure was equally mine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.